So good evening. So Sarah here from Team Elevate, and we've got the fabulous Anne, we've got Lyndall, and we've got Madeline, who are also here to showcase some amazing Mother's Day inspiration. So I'm going to remove myself from the screen, and they are literally going to get started. We have got Lyndall, who is going to kick us off right from the get-go with a delicious brownie. So take it away, Lyndall.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lyndall, Thermomix Kitchen, part of the wonderful team Elevate. And tonight I'm making Magnolia Kitchen Brownies. Now, I actually really love brownies. And this is a great brownie because it's actually gluten-free, dairy-free, it's actually egg-free. It's like really good for everyone, really. There was a company a little while ago that did Mother's Day brownies, and ever since then, it's been a bit of a tradition to do a good brownie at Mother's Day. So I found this one. It looks delicious. I've made it. It is delicious, and we're going to start cooking. So it's called Magnolia Kitchen Brownie. So we're just going to start cooking. I've preheated the oven. Now, it's got some ingredients in that you wouldn't think so, but there's this recipe actually has chickpeas in it, which you think wouldn't go in cakes, but it does. There is actually a magic bean cake out there as well, which is really good. Now, you meant to put 60 grams of blanched almond meal in, blanched almonds in to make almond meal. I actually didn't buy blanched almonds because I couldn't find them at the supermarket, so I just got almond meal. So I'm just going to add that in. So I'm just going to, as a result, just skip a step because I actually don't have to mill the almonds. Oh, and now I've just realised you don't actually add them until later. But rookie mistake. Not really. should know I've made this a couple of times. I just got excited to show you, I think. So I've actually rinsed a can of chickpeas. Now, does anyone know out there that you can actually slow cook your chickpeas in with your slow cooker mode for your TM6? Has anyone slow cooked chickpeas before?
Yes, blade cover peeler as well. It's in that.
Yeah, it's really quite easy to do, and it takes about 2 hours in your Thermomix. They're actually a lot better than canned ones, and they make, I think and you can add your own flavouring to them, so it's good. Now, coconut milk. So and it's 125 grams of coconut milk. So I'm just going to add that. Now, what we need to do next. So we've just got that. I'll just show you. And the thing I love about the Thermomix is that most of the time it's all in one bowl. There's no cutting. This is going to just blend for 20 seconds. This is actually just whole rising one, kind of almost like when you do a home. Now, I've got one of these spatulas that I find really good. You can actually use the Thermomix one as well. I like this one just for scraping down the sides a little bit better. As long as I keep away from the blades. All right. So we're just going to scrape the sides down. See that it's actually it's quite all over the bowl. So we're just going to scrape the sides down. Now I tend to find we're also going to scrape it off the lid as well. So it goes everywhere. Now, I've asked you to insert it and do it again. It wants to find what I'm going to do is I'm not going to blend it as much this time because I think it's already a lot blended. And then next thing I'm just going to preview to see what we need to do next. We need to do dairy-free butter. So you can use any dairy-free butter. I just use this one here. And if you're not too fussed about dairy-free, if you can do dairy, you can probably just use normal butter as well as long as it's softened. That will be fine. So I'll scrape down the sides of that. And then we just need to do 125 grams of dairy-free butter. So I'm just going to scrape the sides down again. All right, so now 125 grams of butter. Who loves brownie? And what's your favourite combination with a brownie?
Ours is zucchini brownie.
Zucchini brownie?
Yep. My daughter would request that over a normal brownie any day of the week.
Yep. Are they those mini zucchini type loaves, or are they like something a little bit different, Sarah?
No, so it's just a recipe that I converted years ago. So it's just blitzing zucchini and it's the rest of your ingredients in. Like it couldn't be any easier. And we just cook it in like a square cake tin.
Yep. Do you ever use the brownie molds?
The little ones?
Yeah, the rose gold ones?
No.
No?
So straight into a big tin and slice
Yep.
that into giant chunks.
Great. Add ice cream.
Correct. And cream.
And cream. Now it calls for soft sugar, so it's 200 grams of soft sugar. And we're just going to mix that again for 10 seconds. So it's just lots of step mixing this. It feels like you're doing lots of steps, but it's just blending one thing kind of at a time to make sure it goes through okay. Next, we're going to add the cocoa. And we'll just wait for that. I use cacao, but you can use cocoa if you want. I like cacao. And then it says it's a half teaspoon of gluten-free baking powder.
Does everyone know you can make your own baking powder in the Thermomix?
Who's ever made their own baking powder? I should try that actually, because I do use a lot of it.
Haven't bought it in 16 years. Literally,
Really? Oh,
your rice, add bicarb.
And then it's 100 grams of gluten-free flour. So you can get lots of different kinds of brands of gluten-free flour. So just what one suits you will work the best. And then you pop your almond meal in. So now you put your almond meal in. So that's that. Now I'm just going to scrape the bowl down, and then we're just going to mix that. So this is going to mix, and then we get to add the fun part. So don't mix that for 10 seconds, I should say. Does everyone put in their orders for Mother's Day? Every woman should be celebrated on that day, I think. Now we put in dark chocolate, and because I want to make this dairy free, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you. So this is it's kind of like, it's quite a thick mixture, but it's quite delicious. So you can see it, can you see that? Okay.
Yep.
Yep. And I use green and blacks chocolate, which is, I've used a bit of that. And because I'm making this raspberry and white chocolate, I use, I've got some white chocolate. So this is Sweet William. So that's actually a dairy-free brand. So if you did need any dairy-free, if you've got any questions dairy-free, please don't forget to ask your consultant, or shoot me a message. I do a lot of dairy-free. I have been doing for 5 years. I've got dairy intolerances in our household. And now it says in this to mix it with a spatula, but I cheat. I actually get out of the recipe and I just put on reverse and I just whiz it for like maybe 3 seconds. And while wait for work, I'll just make the Thermomix work. This is my second pair of hands in the kitchen after all.
Look smarter, not harder.
Exactly. I'll just give that a bit of a stir like that. Now, so I've got that there. Now I've got that ready. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop that into a prepared brownie tray. Now, I'll show you. I've got this brownie tray here, which is a standard brownie tray. However, I will show you this, which I love too, if anyone hasn't seen it. This is the brownie tray you can get from the mix shop. And this is really good for individual little servings if you're making more dessert style, something for fancy things. You can use these for a lot of things. I use zucchini slices for kids' lunch boxes, and I don't know, it's endless really what you can use with them, but they're really great. The rose gold ware is really great from the mix shop.
And Lyndall, that would cook it quicker as well, so you don't have to use as much energy and wait around and stuff.
Yeah, no, it is. They are really good. I like to line my pan. So if I was to use that, I kind of make it fancy so they look pretty. Yeah, but I haven't lined it. So I've lined the other one. So I'm actually going to put that in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that in the oven for, it says to cook for 45 minutes at 160. So that will take a while. I've actually done one a little bit earlier, which I'm going to show you later. But I'm just going to put this in here and I'm going to show you. I'm going to pop some. What would people choose? Put in the chat or come off mute. What would you rather, walnuts and caramel sauce, or would you rather white chocolate and raspberries on your brownies? In your brownies, what would people choose?
White chocolate and raspberries, hands down, no brainer.
Yeah.
What about everyone else? And I'd probably go the salted caramel sauce just for, because I could too. Well, Rebecca's got white chocolate raspberry in the chat.
Yep.
You can unmute yourself if you'd like to just sing it out instead of typing.
Yeah,
Is that Rebecca or is that Sammy?
It's Sammy, but my phone comes up as Rebecca for some reason.
Because that's your mum. She probably pays the bill.
Something like that.
All right, so I've got my brownie, and then I'm just going to decorate it with some beautiful raspberries. This is the white chocolate one. And I'm going to put lots of raspberries on it because I just love raspberries. I had a friend visit today and she brought a tub of raspberries for afternoon tea, and I'm like, oh, you're the best. So I'm just going to bake that. Now, I'm going to bake that and put that in the oven, and I'm going to show you the other one later. That's right, Sarah, yeah?
Yep. So we might pop over to Anne now, who's going to show you a super quick and easy breakfast treat that you can either make yourself on Mother's Day or sing instructions from the bed, and the kids whip this up in a matter of seconds. So take it away, Anne.
Thanks very much, guys.
And I'll be back with the caramel sauce soon.
Lovely. This CADA recipe has been around forever. I've been in Thermomix 13 years, and I had a 31 at the time, and I have been making this ever since. And so it is a fresh muesli. Lyndall, I think, calls it 2-second muesli, or you can add your own variants to it as well. But the CADA stands for coconut, almonds, dates, and an apple. CADA. That's it, basically. So all you do is throw it in. I recommend that you use a green apple because it's less sweet, because the dates are quite sweet. And when I make this, I cut back a little bit on the coconut. Sometimes I have the Aldi organic coconut, but at the moment I've got desiccated coconut because I was gifted a whole packet of it. So that's what we've got in the pantry. So that's what we use. So, and
you can also use coconut flakes, which are amazing.
Yes, they are, and they give a bit more texture to it as well, don't they? Yeah, but I'm stuck with this desiccated stuff at the moment, and I often buy the flakes or the skinny strips because you can chop it down to desiccated in your Thermomix anyway. So on the screen now it says 40 grams of fresh coconut flesh. See tips. So always read the tips on your recipe. They're right down the bottom of your recipe. They are worth reading. So I am going to put in only 20 grams of my coconut because that's what Annie wants. And then next, 40 grams of raw almonds. So my sort of rule of thumb when I make this is a handful of each of these things. I don't measure when I make it normally. I'm measuring tonight because I'm on live with you. But so a handful is, well, my hand was big. It's 45 grams. I'm okay with that. And then 40 grams of pitted dates. You can use medjool dates, you can use the dried dates. Make sure that the stones are out. Even if they say that they've been pitted, check every single one. Chop it in half to be sure, because you'll know if it's in there. So if you like it less sweet, just shorten up the dates as well. And then the next ingredient is just an apple of your choice. Some of my friends don't core it. They just wash the apple, chop it up and throw it in. I take the core out, but I've got friends that make it and they don't take the core out. They just throw the whole lot in. And then we pop our lid on with our measuring cup in place. And this is a really simple process. It's just using the turbo, and it's going to do it for 1 second. So the machine has gone to the mode turbo, and just give it a slight turn, and I do it twice. And then I have a look and see what it looks like.
Next.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. Still got some texture in it, which gives you a little bit of crunch, and it's done. So I serve this with yogurt. That's considered one serve. So if you're eating it all, that's one serve. But I have it with yogurt and fresh fruit. And what I do is keep the leftover bit in my vacuum seal container. So I'm going to pop it in here and vacuum seal it. Let me put a little bit in now, just to show you. You see that?
While you're getting that in there, and I'm like you, I've been making this forever and a day.
Yes.
And until it popped up on the TM6 with measurements, I'd never measured it in 16 years. It was literally a handful of almonds, a handful of coconut,
Yes.
a handful of dates, and an apple quartered. I only quarter it, no coring, no anything. Fling that in, turbo twice, done. How
Yeah.
easy.
So this is the wand that removes the air, and you place it over this little button here. And what you're waiting for is for this little lump here to be depressed. So this is rechargeable. I'll just push the little button on the side. And it removes the air and keeps it fresh. Now, not last Christmas, Christmas before, done. I put some strawberries in for an experiment to see how long they would last. I did. They sat in there for 2 weeks. And you know what strawberries are normally like? They'd be mouldy. No, they weren't. They were perfectly fine. I couldn't believe it. Now, these come in all sorts of sizes as well. I think there's 3 sizes. Is this
650 ml, 1.3 and 2.7.
Lovely, thank you very much. And the really big one, is that still a host reward?
It most certainly is still a
Well, I happen to have one here. Oh, hang on, I've got my laptop on top of it. It's this side. It takes the whole bowl. So you can empty whatever you've cooked in your Thermomix, put it in here, vacuum seal it, you can freeze it. This bottom here can go in the oven to warm it up if you wish, or to cook anything further.
Low weight chicken lasagna fits in there perfectly.
Brilliant. I love it. All right. I will plate it up and put some yogurt and some fruit with it and come back to you. Thanks.
Fabulous. And we might pop over to, what are we doing, Lyndall? Did you want to pop your caramel sauce on? You're on mute.
Sorry, I've got my daughter sitting there and we're having a chat.
All right.
Mute. So I love using the sugar stages. It makes me look like a really cool cook. So I love how the Thermomix can, you know, make you look amazing, because we all are amazing, really. So I'm going to show you how to quickly do this caramel sauce. Actually, I'm going to talk you through it. That's what I'm going to do. Because I've actually already made it, and just to keep an eye on time. Or do you think we've got time, Sarah, to show?
You could probably pop it on if you wanted to.
Okay, cool. All right. Great. So it's a really cool caramel sauce. So I love the high heat function on the Thermomix. So pretty much all it is cream. So we're pouring 120 grams of cream in. I've just used it says that runny thickened cream, so I'll just use that one. Now then it's I've done it again. I did this the other day. Oh, hang on, sorry, 2 seconds. Right, I'll start again. The cream needs to go in the
multiple bowls.
Sorry. Right, we need caster sugar first. Thank goodness I have 2 or 3 or 4 jugs, because sometimes you get ahead of yourself. So this says 250 grams of caster sugar. The cream is for later, okay? So forget the cream until later. So 250 grams of sugar. Now, do you know you can do caster sugar in your Thermomix? Has anyone done their caster sugar in Thermomix? You only need to buy, how many types of sugar, Sarah and Annie and Madeline?
Raw sugar, that's it.
That's
3
it.
seconds for caster, 9 for icing. Never buy it again. Get rid of the anti-caking, the antifungal agents, the bleach. Just buy raw sugar.
Yep, it's great. Then you add some goodness. Now, has anyone ever seen glucose syrup? I have never seen it actually. Because I don't use it, but I was told by a good source that it helps stabilize it. So I took that advice on. Thank you, good source.
Fudges, baby, fudges.
Well, I did actually look for a little while in the supermarket, but if you're looking for glucose syrup, it looks a little bit like this. So it's where your food dyes are and your bicarb sodas and things in your supermarket. That's where it will be. And then you just add 20 grams. Now, 20 grams isn't a lot, and it's very, very thick, like a thick honey, and very sticky, stickier than honey, I would say, probably because it's 200% sugar. And then all you do with this is this cooks for, and then you have to add 70 grams of water. Sorry, forgot about the water part. As I was saying to the girls, I've been running around being a very busy mum taxi today, and I need to get Thermomix focused a little bit better. So that's 70 grams. Now, it's really important when you do sugar stages to make sure you use exact ingredients and measurements, unless, yeah, because it's that close to design for, it's very important to do that. So this is going to cook for just over 30 minutes. And that's going to bubble away, and it's going to become like a quite a sticky substance. And if you kind of pour a little bit out and put it on a spoon or something, it'll go like a candy. So that's going to cook. So then after this cooks, I'm going to add the cream and some butter, and then it's going to become the caramel. So if we get time, I will come back and show you that process. But if not, I've already made some, so you can have a look. It's really important too, when you're doing the sugar stages or any high heat, especially sugar stages, is to make sure that you have your litre of water and 50 grams of vinegar to put in your machine when it's finished. So, because that's within the recipe. So that's really important to do that, to make sure that it's actually not going to get onto your bowl, unless it makes a very messy mess. But if you follow the instructions with the sugar stages recipes, you won't have an issue at all. I never do. Now, just if we've got a quick time before we switch to Madeline and Anne, I just want to give you a little tip that I forgot before. When I do my cake mixes and I'll try to get the cake off the blades to scrape, what I do is I just put my bowl bottom, and you can either turbo it or you can just put it up to speed 9 for 1 or 2 seconds. And I don't know whether you can see, hang on, I'll pull the blade out. You can see it better. But you can see that that's actually come off the blade. You can see it a little bit better. Can you see that? And it just makes it easier. And now it's all gone around the outside of the bowl. So all I have to do now, that amount of mixture is all on the blade. So it spins off. It's a really good trick. I'm sure most consultants know this, so I'm sure they would have given you this little tip. But it's actually a really good tip, and I always say it gives you a good mini muffin more.
Or a little snacky while you're waiting for what's in the oven to cook.
While you're waiting, yeah. So it's actually already in the oven, so I'm not going to put it in now. But that's just a little tip for you if you're looking for a little tip, a little takeaway.
Rightio. So, Anne, we might pop back over to you and you can show us how to whip up your snazzy little yo-yos.
My favorite biscuits.
Yes, Lyndall, you can have some. So this is a recipe imported from the recipe community, and I grew up in New Zealand, and yo-yos are equally as famous in New Zealand as what they are here. And we have a cookbook over there, like you have your CWA cookbook here. We have the Edmonds cookbook, and Edmonds make the custard powder that you use in the yo-yos. Anyway, I happen to be that fanatical that I bring my custard powder over from New Zealand to make yo-yos. So top 3 lines, left-hand side, and then go to my recipes. So I've imported this recipe from the recipe community to my Cookie Do account. And all you have to do is just follow the links within the recipe there. And it comes to created recipes. Let's see if we can get into my screen here. And you've got bookmarks, created recipes, created collections, and saved collections. Remember, your basic cookbook is always in your saved collections. Let's go to created collections. Now, I've got a couple of the recipes and that I've bought in from the recipe community. So today we're making Tracy's, TRACY', CWA yo-yos or melting moments. So in we go. Now, when you're using a recipe that you've imported from the recipe community, it will go this way, horizontal, instead of vertical. So start cooking, and then it says biscuits. This is step 1. Preheat the oven to 180 degrees. I've done that. Line 2 trays with baking paper. I'm going to use my silicone mats. And then add butter and icing sugar, 5 seconds, speed 8, and scrape the bowl. So push the scale, and then it tells you how much butter and how much icing sugar. So I'll pop the screen back, and I've pre-measured this already. So we have softened butter. Now, remember, if you take your butter directly from the fridge, cube it up, and then put it in the bowl and work it on speed 4 to 5, scrape it down, work it a wee bit more, it will soften it quite quickly. You get a better consistency with it than microwaving it, etc., if you haven't got it out of the fridge in time. So just need a bit of a scraper there. So we've got 185 grams of softened butter and then 60 grams of icing sugar. So in we go. Now my icing sugar is a little bit lumpy, but in the Thermomix, it will just sort that out for you. So now 5 seconds, speed 8. Now, when you've got fluffy stuff like icing sugar in it, don't go straight to speed 8. If you just need to repeat the process, it's no drama. Just take it up to speed 8, all right? The reasoning behind that is so that the icing sugar doesn't puff up all on the lid. Lovely. And then we are going to scrape it down. So that's mixed it, and we're going to scrape it down, and it's going to cream the mixture. So we're going to do it for 40 seconds on speed 4. I might do this for 20 seconds and then scrape it down again. So push the blade icon and then turn it round to speed 4. You can lift the lid at this stage and have a little look inside to see what it's doing. If you see some of the mixture still sitting on the side, you can stop it after 20 seconds and scrape it down and then redo it, which I am about to do.
You can also personalise the recipes when you import them across. So instead of pressing the scales picture or the little blades picture down the bottom, you actually touch the step. It will come up with an underline on the screen of your Thermomix. So it'll say 5 seconds, speed 8. It'll have an underline and it will be slightly darker. So you just touch that and it automatically sets the time and sets the speed for you, and you turn the dial around. So it can act almost identical to your actual cookie dough recipes if you import them. We will also be having a couple of cookie dough sessions next month in May. So if you want to know a little bit more about importing your recipes and creating your lists and your shopping and things like that, you are welcome to join those events. They will also be free and on Zoom.
So that's creamed it really nicely. It goes slightly pale when it's done that. So scrape it down. And there's a little flaw in this recipe because it lists vanilla essence in the recipe, but it doesn't tell you when to add it. So it's now saying on the screen, add the custard powder and the plain flour, and then mix for 20 seconds, speed 1, and then up to speed 4. So we now weigh in 45 grams of custard powder, and then 225 grams of plain flour, plus a little bit of vanilla.
And the great thing about the importing is that when you pick up a little error like that, you can actually amend it. So your recipe can actually be properly done, as opposed to in the old days, you would have printed it out from the recipe community. It would have had the mistake in there, and every time you would have been looking around going, but when do I add that? Whereas now, thanks to being able to just pop it in as part of your steps, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Now I'm going to stop that and see how there's still flour around the edge. Just remember that you're in control of this. It's not in control of you. So just stop it and make sure that you include all of that in it. And when I scrape my spatula off, I use the rib to scrape it and then scrape it down. Beautiful. Now, what you want to do is check that the texture is sufficient and the moisture is sufficient to bring it together and be able to form a ball without it being too sticky, without it being too dry. And that is perfect. So I've got a little hint on when you roll it out to help get all the sizes similar. So I'll move the Thermomix to one side. Bring out my silicone mat.
Which is part of your host rewards, or if you're purchasing a Thermomix at the moment, you're receiving the baking mats for free.
Now, if you try and tip that out, it's just going to go everywhere on your mat. So what you do is you use your spatula and form it into kind of a little pyramid or mountain so that it's clumped together, and then when you tip it out, it won't go everywhere. So tip it over and then use your daisy, this little thing on the bottom, to twist it out. But there's nothing worse than trying to get it out and it just goes everywhere. All right. Now, what I do is I take portions of it and then I roll this into basically a sausage. And I'll repeat that with the rest of it, but
That
let's
is
just
the
do.
perfect mixture, Anne.
Sorry?
It's the perfect mixture.
Yeah, it is. It's brilliant. It's really, really good, actually. So the reasoning behind doing this is it takes the guesswork out of pulling a piece off and rolling it and getting the size the same. So this would actually, it has enough mixture to make 3 sausage shapes. So sort of squat them up, and then this is from my toolkit. What's this thing called, girls?
That is
Spreader.
called a butter knife.
A butter knife. Okay, all right. So I
So a free gift with purchase at the minute.
yeah. So how can I do this? Let's just bring this here. All right. So in order to get it the same, I put it beside it as a guide. All right.
And I thought I was OCD, Annie.
I know. So sorry. We are doing CWA yo-yos. We've got to get it right.
Get out that measuring tape.
You could weigh them if you were baking for the show. You would weigh them. Trust me.
Totally
I
would.
like to do minis, little ones. And honestly, if you do get the mix right, you won't need to dip your fork into flour. It will just press them all down. The first batch I did today, I'm like, yeah, nailed it. That's so good. So there they are, and I'll get a fork.
This is
Such
such
a
an easy
simple
way,
mix.
Anne.
You can
Sorry?
also freeze them in those logs.
Yes, you could. You could.
Yeah.
So press it down. Try and keep it even. So you bake them at 180 degrees for approximately 12 minutes, depending on your oven. When I place them on the tray, I don't put them right at the back, because what happens if I do 4 rows of them, the back ones go quite brown, middle ones are pale, and sometimes the front ones go brown. So I just do 2 rows and I'll do 3 trays. And you'll get a more consistent colour in your bake as well. And so what you're looking for when it's done is just a slight brownness on the bottom, because it'll have a better flavour, but try not to get it too brown around the edges as well. But that's just a tip from a 5,000 yo-yo maker.
TWA entrant, perhaps.
Yeah. I would never enter a show. I have friends that do it, but yeah, no, not for me. So I will
You have to let the other people
more,
in, right?
pop them in the oven, and also then the recipe has the buttercream to put inside. I actually think that recipe part is wrong as well, because it's just got butter and custard powder. I actually add some icing sugar to it also. So maybe I should rewrite that recipe. I think it's probably a job I should do. Anyway, that's yo-yos. Everybody loves yo-yos, and you can make them gluten-free if you have the need. You can make them dairy-free by using a substitute as well. Lyndall is all across that. And they're just such a lovely gift. If you want pink icing, just put a little bit of pink food colouring in the butter icing to make it.
Raspberries also works, or make a
Yeah.
raspberry coulis. That also works for colouring.
Yeah, it would. And yeah, just have a crack at making them, and you can definitely. Sarah, did you say your friend's dad, or no? It's one of our
It's
consultants.
Jane. Yep. Jane's dad, yo-yo expert.
And he freezes them. He has them in the freezer.
Oh, they are the best. The best.
We should pop in for morning tea one day, impromptually.
Straight from the freezer, chomp. So good.
Okay, well, that's it from me. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And I do have some that I've prepared earlier, so we'll show you at the end. Thank you.
Yep. We'll move across to Madeline, and she's going to whip us up a delicious strawberry and lemonade mimosa. So take it away, Madeline. You're just on.
There we go, that's better. Okay, hi everyone, thanks for joining us. Most mums for Mother's Day, you know, we usually do the cooking, invite the family over, so great Mother's Day for us. So I thought I'd do a drink, because what you could do is you get all the ingredients, have the mimosa in your week on your Thermomix, and you give it to one of your guests who's not a mum to make your mimosa for you. So this is a really easy recipe. So I'm starting off, because it's a US recipe, the Thermomix automatically turns the scales to imperial, so we're in ounces. So we need an ounce of freeze-dried strawberries, little light little balls of goodness. Oh, one more. Oh, perfect. Right.
Where do you find your freeze-dried strawberries, Madeline?
I got these off Sarah, but the lady at Magic Meadow here in Emerson's Road, she's actually bought the big machine, and she's doing her own, and she's going to be selling them soon too. Because in Lara, we don't have anywhere here to get them, and I can't get them on the online shopping from Coles either. They don't have them. So
you can get them at Costco. You can get them through Aldi. Aldi have freeze-dried raspberries and blueberries from time to time, but Costco's the main place. You can also get them lots of places online as well.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to blitz this for 10 seconds on reverse. Oh, some nice powder happening here. You're going to blow away the smoke or the steam. Oh, that's a beautiful powder, that. I'll get some there for you, so if you can see that on the end there. So it's like a really fine powder. Now we'll have 6 ounces of fresh strawberries. And 2 ounces of sugar, or if you want monk fruit sweetener, you can use that, but it doesn't sound very nice to me. Just go for the sugar. And I'll get my ice cubes.
Does anyone make any cocktails in their Thermomix? I'd love to hear, if you do, what your favourite recipe is when it comes to cocktails. We're quite a fan of them here in our team. We normally make a different version for every team meeting that we have. So if you don't mind that, you might consider joining the team, getting yourself a batch of cocktails every month.
There's nothing like making a jug of cocktails. And I like the pina coladas. They're always the favourite for me. Right, 6. Right, so I've got 8 ounces of ice cubes. That's out of the way. 3 ounces of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I'm getting thirsty already. Right. Now we're going to do turbo 3 times. So that's made sure that that ice is all blitzed up. And now we're going to add 8 ounces of sparkling wine, Prosecco. I've got yellow. That's all I could get today. Oh, look at that. Looks pretty nice. Pretty tasty already. Right. Right. Right, put our lid on. And we're going to do 5 seconds on speed 4.
And if anyone else is still watching Anne on the bottom of their computer screen, you'll see that she's pressing them out on the tray, so it's easier and you don't actually have to move them. They don't really spread. A good yo-yo biscuit doesn't really spread, so they are a really good one to actually just pop nice and close together.
I'll just pour this in. Oh, this looks nice. Oops, right. Gone over. So that's in the champagne glass. Looks very nice. I'll put one into the wine glass just so you can see the texture of it a bit easier. There's still a few smaller pieces of ice cube in there.
My tip too, if you don't necessarily want big cubes of ice, I'm more a slushy kind of girl.
Yeah.
I would, before I put the champagne, blitz that up on about speed 8 for, 9 or 10 seconds. So you get that slushy consistency, and then you can stir in your Prosecco or whatever after that.
Yeah. This it's rather nice. I might actually drink that. That's nice enough for me. And I don't usually drink champagne, but I might crack on. My daughter won't get any of that tonight. Okay, so give it a whirl, but don't forget, put it into my week for Mother's Day and have your ingredients and get somebody else to make it for you.
So
and then maybe they'll do the dishes while they're up.
Well, I mean, what's really to do? There's just a bowl to rinse out, and that's it. Can't get much easier than that, can it?
Nope, and I reckon that'd make about 4 glasses worth. So it's rather, it's a good quantity.
One serve for Mum. Sounds good.
Yeah.
But Linda, we might pop back across to you. Do you have your caramel sauce and your completed brownie there?
Yeah, a couple of minutes, but I want to comment. Who finds Anne's yo-yo making memorizing? I actually just took a photo because I sent my daughter to bed. She wanted to see how Anne was doing it, but it's actually what's the word?
Mesmerizing.
Mesmerizing. That's the word. It's like it's very therapeutic, Anne. I feel very calm. So it's just got a couple of more minutes to go. So with obviously the blade is not moving. So with the high heat, what it's doing is similar to what it does with obviously with the egg boiler mode and the kettle mode and things like that. It doesn't move the blade. So it gets to heat and it's like it's bubbling like it would on a stove if you've made honeycomb as a kid. Has anyone made honeycomb as a kid? Just bubbles away and then you add your bicarb. So this is similar to that. So it's almost done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to then add some butter, so unsalted butter, and then I'm going to add the cream. And then what you do is you pop it in the fridge for about 4 hours to let it, I guess, get cold because it's quite hot, obviously. And it gets this beautiful consistency. So this is one I did earlier. So I'm going to show you. This is the consistency of the caramel sauce.
Yum.
Does that make anyone feel like they want to make it? Because it's
perfect licking consistency.
It's really quite delicious. I had a few friends over today this afternoon for afternoon tea, and I said, everyone just have a taste of this caramel sauce. And they all thought it was really, I don't really eat it because it's got too much dairy, but my challenge is I'm going to make a dairy-free one, which I reckon I'll be able to do easy. But this is just, it's really quite amazing. So I'll show you just that thing in a minute, but do you want me to show you what it looks like drizzled onto a brownie, Sarah? Will I do that?
To see that.
Right.
Have you got a finished brownie there to show us?
Yeah.
Ooh. And on that brownie, did you pop the walnut? So the other variation.
Yep, so this has got the
of
walnut,
brownie?
so it's got the dark chocolate inside it. Dark chocolate inside, the caramel sauce on top. Now, the other one has the raspberries on it with the white chocolate. And with that, you could drizzle, you know, to decorate it to look nice, you could do your white chocolate, or you could have it with some beautiful double cream or some dairy-free cream, or you can have, if you wanted a good alternative for that, you could always do Fruity Dream, but do frozen bananas, and that's really delicious. I did a peanut butter and a bit of coconut cream and frozen banana, whizzed it all up, and it was like a peanut butter ice cream. My kids loved it. So we had that on our brownie last weekend, and that was delicious. So there's lots of different alternatives. So I just think about what's your favorite and put in your order because it's really delicious. So this is pretty much done now. So I'm just going to quickly show you. So all you do is it says turn it on to 40 seconds. And then we're going to add the reserved cream through the hole, which is the 120 that I've actually done. Oh, look at that puff of goodness. And that's just going to go down for, that's just 40 seconds. So that's stirring all that in. Then it's going to put, then you insert the butterfly whisk. And then you're going to do your 90 grams of butter. That stirs in, then you cool it. And then you've got your caramel sauce. So easy as that. And you don't actually have to do any of the stirring, which is amazing. So
definitely takes the guesswork out the Thermomix when it comes to specialty sauces and things like that.
it does. So I'll just keep going, Sarah, but you can swap over to the others if you like. Just whatever.
Righto. Anne, would you like to show your completed yo-yos? 1 second. While Anne's doing that, I
can talk about, sorry, Sarah, something else. This recipe that is actually a ganache recipe. And it's actually meant to have white chocolate in. So you can actually make it a ganache. So you can, but I'm making it as a caramel sauce. So you actually don't put white chocolate in. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
That's totally fine. Totally fine. One thing I would like to say, at the minute, Thermomix have partnered with Oz Harvest, and they are helping contribute, well, we're hoping to contribute around 200,000 meals into the community. So every time someone hosts a cooking experience at the moment, up until the 15th of May, you have the opportunity to be donating 20 meals to Oz Harvest. And all you have to do is have a couple of friends around and your consultant to come and give you some more Thermomix inspiration. So on your behalf, Thermomix are donating 20 meals for every cooking experience held at the moment. You get access to all our amazing host awards. So thermo servers, we've got vacuum seals, we have glider boards, there is your cookie do subscription, your bread mats, your toolkit. There's lots of things on there. We also have the sensor, which is a thermometer probe, which can go into things like your roasts, or it can go into wet things as well, like a cake mix. So interesting. But that is a limited time, the sensor that will finish on the 4th of June. But lots of good reasons to host a cooking experience at the minute. So reach out to your consultant, and we would love to be a part of donating another 20 meals for each one of you for hosting a cooking experience in that time. And you get to pick up a bit of inspiration and have one of us chill with you for a little bit. Anne, what have you got over there? Yummy looking biscuits. You're on mute, Anne. Anne, you're on mute.
Oh, here we are.
There we go.
You didn't really want to hear what I said anyway. I make them little because they're easier to pack. These are going to be gifts for some of my neighbours, and of course Lyndall and I might just have a sneaky try of them as well. And they are just so easy to make, so delicious, and a beautiful gift at Mother's Day. Now going back to the CADA, here it is with a dollop of yogurt and some fresh fruit, and it's just delicious. It's got some crunch in it because the almonds still have crunch, and it absolutely sustains you through till lunchtime. I find it just great as a tummy liner, and you don't want to snack partway through. Oops, there's my next lot of yo-yos beeping at me. I better go and check them. All right, back to you, Sarah.
Timer going off. On the topic of the filling, so I've put the recipes for tonight. They've been in the chat, but you've registered for the class, so you also will receive an email that will come with the recording from this evening, plus the links to the recipes. But I will just say I have one very tattered CWA cookbook that I've had for many a year, and dear me, it's seen a better day because that's the cover. As a separate thing altogether. But the yo-yo biscuit filling from the CWA cookbook is 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of condensed milk. Now make that yourself in your Thermomix, and 1 tablespoon of icing sugar.
Yum.
So it definitely is sugar and slightly different than the one that Tracy has. So just straight out of the old CWA handbook, thought you might find that of interest.
Yeah, well, the one from New Zealand has icing sugar, 2 teaspoons of custard powder, and about a decent sized tablespoon of softened butter, and you just mix that up and then roll it and put it between them. But
it's interesting, all the different takes, isn't it?
I know. It's like Anzac biscuits as well, isn't it?
Oh,
and yeah, pavlova.
Had 4 batches of those last week.
Good on you.
No. So what else do we have? We've got our finished brownie. We've got our Madeline tucking in on those mimosas over there. I'll have a look at the brownie. Can everyone see Lyndall's screen? Looks pretty good. Imagine that with your drizzled caramel sauce all over the top. Yum.
You can see it's quite moist and things. And then this is the cooked caramel sauce that's going to cool down. So you can see that's quite runny. It thickens up.
Thickens on up in the fridge. I would love you guys to unmute yourselves. I would love to hear if you're going to be making any of these things for Mother's Day, or if someone's going to be making them for you while you yell instructions from somewhere in the house, or if you think they're just capable of working their way through it. We've got anything coming in the chat? Anyone want to unmute yourselves?
Is anyone going to try any of the any of the recipes tonight?
I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yes, we can.
You can?
Yep, we can, Deb.
Yep. Yo-yos are my favourite melting moments. I'll definitely be making those. That'll be so easy. I'm not sure whether I'll be rolling them and measuring them though.
No rulers out for you, Deb?
Yeah, I'm not that OCD, I don't think. But maybe I will, who knows?
It does get compulsive when you see how cute they are and you're matching them all up. It's satisfying.
Well, my grandmother used to make absolutely perfectly exactly the same size. But I didn't inherit that from her, I can tell you.
And I bet she never measured it. It was just...
No, everything of hers was perfect.
Yeah.
Really perfect. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they had so little those days that they had to be so careful, and they didn't waste one single fleck. Nothing. Yeah, maybe that's why, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think there was a little bit of social pressure as well.
Oh, slightly, that's for sure.
Yeah. You were judged by how good your sponge was, or...
That's why I'm grateful for that. No social pressure when you've got a Thermomix is all I can say.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, certainly ticks the boxes and makes life a whole lot less stressful. That is for sure.
Mhm.
Does
Yeah.
anyone else want to make anything? Anyone get their taste buds tested?
I'm going to add the mimosas to my cocktail list.
Please do. I might go back to drinking alcohol.
Sorry, I'm back now after putting the kids to bed. What was the question at the end, sorry?
I said,
How
why
long
am
is it
I
gonna take
not
up drinking?
surprised?
Yeah, no, not surprised. I've got quite an extensive cocktail repertoire since getting my Thermomix.
Oh, and it must be a good recipe because Madeline's been sipping away and she's not a Prosecco girl. So they must be pretty all right.
They are. Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, that is our class. Thank you so much for joining us. As I said, we've got part 3 of our Mother's Day mini series is on Friday evening this week. So same time, 8 o'clock. Register on Eventbrite if you would love to pop along and see some more. We've got 2 more presenters who would be popping on, and we'll have another 3, possibly 4 things to whip up and show you. So just a little bit more inspiration. And I might also, just because we can, add the recording from the first night in with your email that we send out later on. So you can have the last one and this one. How does that sound?
Excellent.
Fabulous. Glad you enjoyed, Jules. Thank you everyone for coming along. It's been lovely having you and we look forward to seeing you for the next class.
Reach out to me, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.